Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sara F. Hathaway and co-host Chin Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sara F. Hathaway and Chin Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 481. Hey, Chin, what's up?
Chin's up, y'all.
Well, March has been crazy, right?
Holy smokes.
Right?
I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked at the weather and then I followed the stream of storm all the way to your house.
All the
it was
way
from my house to your house.
So that was actually April. Just the beginning of this month has been crazy down here. We actually, so Texas got pretty hit during March, I'm not going to lie. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe it was everything at my house has new roofs from last year. So it was like the new roof shield over my house. Oh. And we've been...
I've seen an insurance commercial with the umbrella.
Right? Yeah. I think, State Farm's like, no more storms allowed to touch this house. So. Yeah. But... no, it's been good besides the storm the other night got really wild. The other day. Yeah. Working from home is interesting because I'm literally at my house in a different state than where all my clients are. It's like,
what do you mean there's a tornado?
Yeah. It's like thunder clapping.
It's sunny out here.
Tornado warning. My power flashes. The internet goes out. And I finally could call my client back, and he's like, well, are you going to get that application done for me today? I'm like, I don't know, man.
After I stopped seeing the flying monkeys and the witch on the bicycle go by.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, I don't know. But I got it all done, and, that's just the day in the life of the remote employee. I'll take it. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, I've had fans for years nagging me about the Lost Vegas years. And I've had those two pieces of that book up for a while, for members only. And I had some extra time on my hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, I think I got the wrong number. Sarah, are you there?
So, so I finished the Las Vegas years. I'm actually I'm finishing up the first round of edits on it right now. It took me about 3 weeks and I'm done. Yeah. Well, you got to edit. It'll definitely have another round of editing done and then it goes off to the official editor. So it'll still be a couple months before it comes out, but definitely before prepper camp. And so everybody, it's coming. I promise you it's coming. All of the Changing Earth series is available on Kindle Unlimited now. So, I mean, I finally did it. I bent the knee to the corporate giant and it's doing really great, picking up a lot of traction over there. So, I'd love it if everybody want to check it out. You're a member of Kindle Unlimited. You can now read them there. And please leave me a review. Don't just leave me a review on one. Put them down on all the books. This is... This is going to get the series to Hollywood. So, been doing a ton of podcast interviews with other podcasters. So keep your eyes out. Those interviews are going to be coming up. And I'll definitely point you in the direction of some of those. They've been really cool. Some of the people just want to talk about, the practicalities of what I do as far as self-defense and anti-kidnapping. And then I had a really cool interview. It's called A Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation. Yeah. And I went on the podcast with this gentleman. He's a spectacular guy. We had great conversation, really bridging gaps that, sides that the world has tell us. They taught us the two sides exist, right? I've been actively trying to smash down barriers and just introduce people to the preparedness lifestyle. And, we all have insurance.
We need to get out of the digital world back into the analog world.
Right. Like, we need to be there for each other. And we need to understand, like, we're not so far off if you just sit and have a conversation. And you can be open-minded about ideas and still stand strong on your own values. But it doesn't mean that you can't, listen and...
be respectful.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And share. And then be surprised at how much you have common values and beliefs and things that... So it's been a lot of fun. So I'll be sharing that along the way.
Good.
How
was Joe Rogan's studio?
Oh man,
when's that coming out?
I'm getting ready to just go down to Austin and like sit out in front of the studio.
You got 3 hours to put aside.
yeah, when I have all this free time. And I'll be like, hey, Joe, you want to go work out? I'll kick your ass sparring. I'm sure of it. So, hey, I'm still pretty quick, So, he's getting old. I'm sure he's older than I am, maybe.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
I don't know. I'm pretty much the oldest one at sparring classes now these days. Telling ya. They're like, oh, you should do this different. I'm like, come talk to me in 25 years.
Tell me how you feel.
Yeah, tell me how you feel. The other day, I did a huge leg workout in the morning because I got to keep my knee in shape, Yeah. Do a huge leg workout. Then I go to MMA class that night, and he had invited a neighboring school. And it's like, okay, all we're doing tonight, all night long, is 3-minute sparring rounds. I'm like, I got to sit down, Like, I got to take a break. I'm like, I'm sorry, to my instructor. He's like, oh, no, you paid your dues because I walked in and picked the biggest guys first because I knew I would only have so much energy, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, but, still going. So I'm ready to take on Joe. That'd be great. So, audio drama, all of the remixes are going up. It's a lot of fun to relive some of the stories and bring them back to life, in a new way. So all of the remixes are going up on all of the podcast platforms right now. PBN over on YouTube as well, but I'm going to shift focus back over to Rumble just because they love all kinds of content. And my stuff could be a little bit too violent for YouTube. It hits a little bit too close to home.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah.
How many car crashes and animal attack videos are there? Viral, status and
yeah. I don't know. So I'm just going to pull back over to Rumble. So you can find my channel on Rumble at Changing Earth, and we'll just keep camping over there, PBN crew, and everybody's a lot more comfortable there anyway.
Absolutely.
So beyond that, the Earth has been off the chain. If this isn't the changing Earth, I don't know what is. It's incredible to watch what is going on. It's such an exciting time to be alive. So I've got lots of great Changing Earth news, obviously, later. But what I wanted to point out was the wildfires around the Saluda area where we have prepper camp. And, I've been saying prayers, man. Yeah,
there was 3 major ones in North Carolina, plus a couple in South Carolina that were close to the state line. It's insane. And then there's another one popped off in the town just a little east, but they put that down right away. They saw it,
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be chased out by a hurricane last year and then come back to, wildfires on this year, right?
Yeah, I told Hannah that, the girl that is part of the family that owns it.
Yeah.
You all been between floods and fires, it's been
crazy.
Something else.
Yeah. That's just forever. It just hasn't really relented since the hurricane.
I just got an email this is their 30th year. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
For
Anniversary.
For Orchard Lake.
Nice. Yeah. That's very cool.
30 years. That's pretty good.
That's an accomplishment.
For a business, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a great place, too. I love it there. It's a really great setup and everything. If I was closer, I'd probably just, go do some camping there anyway.
I've been over there talking radios.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I bet.
I did a class over there. Yeah.
That's key for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Staying in
I know. That's
contact.
what they were worried about, being able to, because, well, we know we lived it. No cell phone service.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I got them hooked up with the 3s.
And you got a deal. We might as well announce that in our beginning credits here.
The intros. Yeah. So I've been schmoozing with Retevis, the manufacturer, and the rep. I told them that co-host and all that stuff. They go, "Oh, the Changing Earth with Sarah. That's awesome."
Yes.
And so she gave me she gave us a discount code. So you guys get $10 off. And so that code is R10 off.
R10
Romeo.
off. Yeah.
100 Foxtrot, right, sir?
No, it would be Romeo 10 Oscar Foxtrot.
Oscar Foxtrot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I just looked at the website before we fired up the show, and even with the crazy tariffs, they're still holding their price at $60 for one of the radios we're going to talk about, and $150 for the other radio. So they're still on sale. Yeah, so
that's really good.
Get them up. Yeah, put that coupon.
Like, we're talking a quality product here. We're going to jump into it, but we're talking a quality product here, not the $5 Baofeng, get a case of them for $10 from Temu.
Was lit up with this radio, because as far as I don't think you get a better bang for your buck for value wise. And I have radios that are more expensive and obviously less expensive. The Baofeng, right? the gateway drug to radios.
Yeah.
But I was given one to demo, liked it so much, I went and bought the more expensive one I bought with my own money, because I liked the demo one so much.
Okay, before we jump into why you like it so much, so these radios are doing GRMS and ham?
So on the analog, there's two versions. There's an analog version, which is old school, like CB radios, analog.
Right.
What everybody traditionally thinks of ham and walkie-talkie, like the Walmart walkie-talkies. Those are all analog radios.
Right.
Over the air, like FM music, analog radios. The newest craze, I mean, it's probably been around for a decade or a couple decades, but the newest thing in ham radio is digital. So it's much more efficient in the use of the airwaves, so you can get twice as much traffic back and forth on the same frequency. Some of that, like in your car now, you get the you get the
digital radio, right? That gives you
your regular car.
Yeah.
So that's because it's sending data across the airways. So
that
we
is
can do
insane.
that. But so they sent me the
cool.
HA1UV, which is the model number of the analog radio. Now you can get the HA1G, which is the GMRS radio. The UV is the dual band ham radio. And I'm not going to say this, but if I were to, if we were just hanging out by the campfire, I tell you could unlock either of those radios, and they can both do ham 2 meter, 70 centimeter, GMRS, MERS, and they come with NOAA, the weather. That's not unlocking it, but they have that. So you could really open these radios up.
Got you.
So
you just have to have your own chin in your back pocket.
Yeah. So there's YouTube University is amazing.
Yep. And
it tells you what button to push and hold and what knob to turn and spin at the same time, and what special passcode to enter. Ding, 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 ding. And boom, the radio does all the frequencies instead of just one or the other.
Okay.
So it's pretty slick. So I did that. I watched a video and heard about it and talked about it at a campfire. But it's awesome, because then you still have to be mindful. If you have a GMRS license, you can talk at GMRS frequencies and GMRS powers. If you don't have that, you could talk on those same frequencies at lower powers. But then when you go up to the ham frequencies, the ham bands, that you do have to have a license. So the only caveat to that is if there's an emergency, I think I've said this several times in the past, a life or limb, then you can use the radio.
Right. In an emergency situation.
We had happen here during the hurricane. People were just getting on asking for rescue. They needed help.
Right.
And that's totally legit. That's not a problem. And you can listen to them. Like if you bought a radio, as long as you don't talk, if you can just listen, and half of radio is listening, right?
Right.
Gathering data, so information. So yeah, you can listen. So so that for $60, so twice as much as a Baofeng, and Baofeng's not waterproof, doesn't have as big a battery. It doesn't have as nice of interface. The speaker on that analog radio is outstanding. It is so good, so crisp and loud. Like if you're outside and I typically ran with it at only a quarter turn.
Crazy.
Not even full blast, because it was so loud and clear. It was outstanding.
Yeah, that's a lot of times if you're like, you can't even hear what it's saying anyway.
Right.
What do you?
So if you're like, well, I don't know. If you're
right.
But I could hear it over like the side by side or the tractor.
Oh yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm gonna kill the throttle on the tractor and pay attention once I hear it, but I can hear it.
Right.
Some of these radios, you can't even hear it.
Yeah,
I'd have to have earpieces.
I don't think I could. Yeah, I don't think I could hear it.
So that is really nice. And like if you're like here on my property, my wife is in the house working, and I'm out doing crazy stuff, trying to get stuff done.
Right.
And I typically put it on full volume just in case, so I don't miss her call, And
how half the time I can't even get it through to Brock, and I'm standing there yelling right at him.
Yeah. So I was there was certain boxes that I wanted checked, right? So to get the next radio, I wanted to have certain things. Being waterproof was one of them, because when you're out there, I was tired of using Ziploc bags. Put my radio in Ziploc.
Yeah, put it in the bag, take it out of the bag.
If it's raining. Always worrying about, these. They're IP67 rated, so they can be in 3 foot of water for up to half an hour.
Okay.
Take them out, dry them off, and they're still functional.
Yeah, so bug out bag type material, bam.
Yeah. This is for both radios, but we'll keep with the analog. So the analog, like I said, the check boxes were waterproof, tough. I've dropped them already. They really feel solid in your hand. Good clarity. They have USB-C plugs in the back for charging, which was critical for me because I'm tired of having, if the Baofeng, you had to put it in a cradle.
Yes.
You can just charge. I
got cradles everywhere.
Yeah. Well, my cell phone charges with USB-C. My wireless earbuds charge with USB-C. Now every radio that I get is going to have USB-C charging capability. This came with a cradle, so you could set it on your desktop.
Yeah,
but it's nice to be in the car, plug it in. It's still
or anywhere. Yeah. How many times do we have charging quarters?
Instead of having to, right. You run with one cable with you all the time, right?
Yes.
And you can top something off if you had to, as opposed to having 4 or 5 different proprietary cables and those big desktop cradles.
Power plug. You got to put a power plug, and then the power plug's all filled up. I don't have room to put it. They get all dusty when you're not using them. Yep.
So the other thing that I like is chirp programming, which neither of these have. But they have, when you buy the radio, you get a free copy of the software that they use.
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty slick. You could program, Squelch. Squelch is is the volume at which it receives an incoming call.
Right.
So if you have a really weak signal and you want to get that signal, you turn the squelch down to like 1 or 0, and the signal will come through. If you don't want to hear all that far off stuff, like some radios, like FM radios, they have like near and far mode.
Right.
And basically, it's just a squelch. So when you put it on local only mode, it's putting the squelch up high, so you don't get any of that far off. But like when you're traveling across country, you put it on.
Yeah, because you're trying to get something, anything.
Because you're trying to get anything to listen to in the middle of the night to keep you awake. So that's the same thing with these. But the cool thing was with the software, you could set each memory channel to a different squelch. So if you have like one that you run at your house and you don't want to get all the neighbors, you might turn the squelch up a little higher, so you just get your family. But if you have one that, this is the channel that we use when we go into town, you might want to turn the squelch all the way down so you get like as much traffic as you can across your radio.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool.
That is pretty cool.
And you can also adjust your power.
I mean, I'm thinking I always think kind of nefarious, because I'm trying to think worst case scenario, I have to write bad guys and stuff. It's like if you had one of those and you were looking for a group, you could just turn it up louder to try and pick up as much noise as you could.
Well, yeah, so that's they would turn their squelch all the way down. But to get around the bad guy, you would put you could put set your powers as low as the proper etiquette on a radio is use as little amount of power as possible to get your message received by the party you want, your intended party.
Got you. So it's like a game.
What you could
it's like
do,
how low like can I go and still get it through?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you're playing, paintball with your team, you guys are going to want to like get a feel for, can I run it low or maybe medium power and run as the lowest setting you could to get you guys heard. And then that way, anybody else trying to like listen in on your conversation, the other team
or whatever,
they have to find what channel you're on, what frequency you're on, and then hear you. And if you're like on the other side of the hill, y'all like have a rally point and talking to get there, and have the power just low enough so you can get the signal. They might not hear you wherever their rally point was.
Fair, okay.
They might, but you can only do so much.
Right. That's the game.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, so that was a cool thing that I really did like about programming.
And then on-screen programming, you're saying, so you don't have like the big clunky buttons.
Well, we know the H3 that I had liked and talked about at camp. My biggest thing about that one was it wasn't waterproof, right?
Mm-hmm.
It checked so many boxes, but it wasn't waterproof.
Yeah.
But that one you can share programming from one radio to the other wirelessly, which is slick.
Oh, that is cool.
These I haven't found that yet. So to program from scratch, the easiest way to do is use the software with a computer, or you can use the menu and the keypad on the radio. I hate the radios that don't have numbers. Some people like them because they're just simple. They're like, you guys program it for me, hand it to me. I just want a volume, and I want to push the talk button, and I just want an up and down channel selector. That's it.
That would be me.
I like
just show me how.
142.5, 620, and I like to be able to type in my frequency, right?
Right.
So you could program a frequency, and if you're doing a repeater, repeaters take a little more programming because you have to do a sending frequency, a receiving frequency. It's sometimes they have like a code, a tone to be able to open a repeater. So you have to program a couple different things, but you can do that all from the face keyboard of the radio. So that's good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because if you didn't have access to software and technology and stuff, you'd still be able to
if you're
use
traveling.
That.
Yeah, if you're traveling, the biggest time this would happen is if you were traveling and you met somebody and you want to talk to them on that whatever their repeater or whatever, you could key up that. I like to try to plan ahead and put frequencies in on my travels
of where you're going.
along the route.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But say there was a better one, local knowledge or whatever, there was a better one to use.
Yeah,
or
fair.
With GMRS, you can only own private repeaters. So you could literally get to a campground, say, and the campground has a repeater for everybody to use. Well, if you didn't know that ahead, you could get there and program it in with your keypad and be able to use it. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. So, that's cool.
Yep. What else? Let's get down to that. Shape of this.
Does the analog have the weather alert?
Yeah. So the analog, that's one positive for the analog over the digital, and I'm begging the rep to get that added in. The analog version has weather frequencies pre-programmed in, so you can go in there and choose which one you want to listen to. You find the one that's broadcasting for your area, because there's like 11 or 12 NOAA frequencies to use. It depends on what area you're in. So you could program that in and listen. And you can go into the menu on the radio or on the computer and set it to alert function, which is really nice, because set it to alert, and then you could just go about your business talking on whatever frequency you want. And just like your cell phone, if an alert comes out, it overrides and turns on the NOAA channel, and you can hear the alert being broadcast.
I tell you what, sometimes those alerts are annoying as hell.
But
if I've been hearing bad weather, I've been hearing a lot of stories about people surviving the tornadoes that just ripped through because of those alerts. So,
they're annoying. Like summer thunderstorms are the biggest pain in the ass. Wake you up.
Like during Helene, oh my gosh, all night long that thing went. It's like if you just could get some sleep, you couldn't, because But on the digital radio, just a quick preview on the digital radio, it doesn't have the alert function. It only has where you can monitor it, which doesn't make sense to me. And I'm sure there's going to be a firmware update to the software.
I'm sure that's just a firmware that they can. And then you just update the radio.
But you can set the passwords on the programming. That's cool.
Like the price, it's a third the price.
Yeah.
And it has that weather alert function. That's huge. I think that's huge, because for me, these, although they're kind of my little thing, I love to play with these radios. They're honestly a tool. They're absolutely a tool. They're not a toy. I don't just get on there to chat with Joe Blow down the street just to talk about whatever coffee we're making.
That's still done with
really
the cell
do
phone
have
or
it
whatever.
to gather information and to be able to contact people that I need to talk to when and if I need to talk to them.
Yeah.
So and gathering information is the NOAA weather. I mean, if that goes off, that was so cool when I found out, and it worked for a thunderstorm, but it worked. So that was great.
You should have more thunderstorms coming your way. That's for sure.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can use the rain, so that's good.
I know.
Yeah. So, couple other cool things. I mean, they're like just nuances. The way that both of these radios are shaped, they have a little wing at the top. They like half of an hour, like a T. They're shaped like a T almost.
Yep.
So at the top, so when you're holding it, your pointer, index finger, and your thumb kind of keep the radio from slipping through your hand. It's not just straight
easier
up
to grip instead
it's
of
just stupid little things like that
they thought about.
Great.
I made a difference.
The mic placement is just inside of where your fingers land, so you don't have to worry about covering up the mic. So that's good too. I thought that was cool.
That is cool. And these are how do you say the company name again? Retevis
Ailunce.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a subset of Retevis. Ailunce is like they call them the Ailunce, the HA1UV is kind of what everybody calls them, but Retevis is the website you go to. They're the company that sells them. the parent company.
Yeah, I'm liking it just because, like you say, the waterproof factor. Because if you're planning on any kind of if you're any kind of movement, scouting part, anything, working in the yard,
if you're going to use it for anything other than just in the car or the house,
yeah, it's got to be weatherproof.
Use it outside between sweat. You're cleaning the pool and it falls out of your pocket or whatever. It falls into the pool. Stuff like that. Out camping, out hiking, out hunting.
Yeah, when do you you're just not moist at all.
Rain is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. and
streams,
having to go through streams.
Rivers,
Exactly.
Lakes.
Yeah. Yep.
So it really is for, instead of paying $30, you pay $60, right? It's well worth.
And they last. They're not garbage when you need them.
They're pretty much a knockoff of the Motorola that the police use. It's kind of like what they look like. Yeah. They look like a cop radio. Another cool thing that I didn't really pick as what I wanted to have on a radio, but it has it, is the little channel dial on top. If you looked at the picture, there's the antenna on top. There's another turn knob.
Yeah.
Which is the channel. So you could change channels on this radio, either radio, by spinning that knob or by pushing the up and down arrow on the keypad or typing in the actual frequency or channel number.
Got you. So you can do more of a scan.
Multiple ways. Yeah. So it depends on what, if you're sitting in a chair or on a rock or something and you just I need to go to channel 23. So just type in 23 and hit enter and it takes you right there. Or if it's on your belt and you can't really see, just spin the dial that's on top.
Yep.
And you'll hear
nice.
It. Channel 23.
That's
channel
nice.
24.
There's times I wish that, the Baofangs definitely don't have that capability.
Baofeng.
The worst.
I mean, that Baofeng is what got me into radios, right?
Right.
I mean, you start reading these prepper novels. You authors scare the crap out of us, and we got to go buy this stuff. So I bought a Baofeng. That's how I learned how to program radios, how I learned how to talk to radios. That got my license with a Baofeng.
Yeah.
But now I'm learning the little
nuances and what's better.
Yeah, what you want, it's like your first car, and then the next car you buy, you kind of know I want this.
Your first computer, then you're dialing it in. What it suits you. No, for sure, and that's really cool that they gave us the code. So guys, check it out, the Retevis.
Yeah.
And I'll put the code up on the website and the blog as well. Yeah.
I am not getting any commission for this. I was super happy that the rep reached out to me, said, "Hey, you're going on to the show. Why don't you hand this out to the people?" So I'm like, "Thank you very much." So this is all for the listeners. I'm not getting any kickback. So let's go for it. It doesn't.
That's
just
what we do.
Decreases your price. It's not increasing at all.
Peeps helping peeps.
So if you take everything I just said about the analog, the HA1UV, and then add to that, it has twice the transmission power. So the analog,
so you can go basically twice as far.
5. Well, maybe not twice as far, but you have stronger capabilities. It has Bluetooth audio, which is super cool.
Crazy.
It actually comes with an earplug, a wireless
earbud. Interesting.
Bluetooth earbud that has a push to talk button on it.
Oh.
So you can have this radio in your backpack and not even touch it. And just push the button on your headphone, your earbud, and start talking, then release the button.
Now we're talking. Slick.
And that was included in the price. So think that costs $40 if you want to buy just one of those alone, $40 to $100.
Yep.
So that was included in the package. So Bluetooth is awesome. I also tried it with the Bluetooth earbuds that I use with my phone.
Right.
Because they're a little smaller. Now I don't have the advantage of having to push the talk button, but they're a little smaller. And they fit underneath my ear protection, my ear pro for shooting, or the ones that I use when I run the chainsaw and stuff. So I could hear the radio even over a chainsaw.
Wow.
Because I have the Bluetooth earbuds. And
That's
so,
cool.
so like if you had like an Apple phone or what, an Android phone, and you have earbuds for them,
Yep.
you can pair them with the radio.
With the radio.
So that's slick, right?
That is
so
slick.
you could be gray man or lady.
Yeah.
You could be walking around town with this in your bag, your backpack.
And nobody would ever know
people.
you're
People
listening.
think you're talking on the phone,
Uh-huh.
but you're talking to somebody else on a radio.
Yep.
How cool is that?
That is. And you can still like listen to like firefighter type lines, police type lines, that kind of thing.
So some of them you can. Some of the frequencies are within the range of this radio. So some of them you can. I think that my town police department, they're like dispatch is a frequency that I can get, but they're like tactical channels I can't get.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's town by town.
But like if there was a big riotous events, like you can find out about it.
Well,
before.
A lot of ham, and where I am, I'm shocked up here in the mountains of North Carolina. They have a huge GMRS community. We have repeaters all over the place.
Uh-huh.
I actually, with this radio, standard antenna, inside the house, talk to a repeater 48 miles away. Because I just looked, I pulled up Google Maps and I found out the location of the repeater, and I did measure distance. So that's as a crow flies. That's not driving distance.
Right.
48 miles away
that's
with a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now my house is on a mountain, and I'm at like 1,100 feet, and that repeater was like 1,600 feet.
Right.
So there's probably nothing in between us.
Fair. Yeah. So it's not like you're on flat ground in a city.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's insane.
Still, that's insane.
I mean, I know I get another repeater that I checked that was 24 miles away.
Crazy.
So, I mean, that's best case, mountain peak to mountain peak kind of thing. But that's the benefit of having repeaters. And with GMRS, you can have your own repeater. So if you had property that had a lot of peaks and valleys, buy a repeater,
you just put it on a peak,
and a lot of the valleys on either side of the peak will be able to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Which is you can get a ham repeater, but there's a lot more hoops you got to. It's just a lot more involved.
Right.
With GMRS, it's not as powerful, but you can buy like a 10-watt repeater for $400 to $600, and like a ham repeater, those are thousands of dollars.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you can rig, like, guys will do like two Baofangs together and do a simplex repeater, which is a little different, but a true repeater, it uses two frequencies, one in, and then another frequency is what it transmits the message back out on. So you could buy your own on GMRS.
Yeah. It seems like Phil liked the GMRS direction as well. It just seems more open. Even though you have to work a little harder at it. Yeah.
And I was 100% ham when I lived in Charleston, because they don't have good GMRS coverage down there.
Right.
So really it's location specific, but if you live in a location that doesn't have any good coverage, you can set up your own, I know I bought like a car GMRS that mounts in it looks like a CB radio, mounts in the car.
Uh-huh.
And I bought two of them because they're made to plug together they have settings to make them into a repeater, and those are 50 watts. So I could have my own, in case of emergency, I could stand up my own 50 watt repeater here.
Got you.
So.
Yeah. And your hill helps. Yeah.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, GMRS is, it's, what is it? $35 for a 10-year license?
Right. Yeah, it was cheap.
And it covers the whole family.
Yeah.
Ham, it's like $35, but each person has to get their own.
Take the class, get their license.
And take a test.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And you have to follow the guidelines of how you're talking on the radio and everything else.
Yeah,
you can't use it for like playing paintball.
But ham, you can do a lot more with.
Yeah, fair.
GMRS is catching up, and if you don't want to study and you just want to have something in your back pocket, it's the way to go. You might get to the point where you say, after 3 or 4 years, you might say, oh, maybe I do want an extra capability. Maybe I'm going to be the comms guy for my little community, and everybody can talk to me on GMRS, and I can talk to the outside world on ham.
Now we have to just figure out how to bounce it from North Carolina to Texas.
Mm-hmm. Now we get into the other cool thing. So the HD2, which is the Retevis HD2.
Yeah.
The other radio that's like $150.
Yeah, the digital one. Yeah.
That's digital. Now, digital can do analog channels and it can do digital channels. On digital, it's much clearer until it's not. So with analog, it kind of fades out.
Yeah.
You have
digital's like there or not.
So digital, it kind of like you have really decent reception until all of a sudden it just falls off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
So you have good, but the digital can be, the repeaters or hotspots can be plugged into the internet. And I was in Charleston when I got this radio and I was playing around with it.
Uh-huh.
I got into they call them talk groups, the channels.
Uh-huh.
Think of it as like a Facebook page.
Right.
So I got into the Facebook page, and there's all other people joined that same Facebook page. We could all talk to each other. I could talk to people on my walkie-talkie in Charleston, and they were up in North Carolina.
That's crazy.
And if you and I were both on digital, and a hotspot is literally what it sounds like a hotspot, like for cell phones and stuff.
Internet
hotspot.
Yeah.
Well, it's a hotspot just for these digital radios. So you could have one of those into your house. Your walkie-talkie gets into the internet through that hotspot in your house, and you could talk worldwide. You and I could talk on walkie-talkies, and we could each be walking around our property.
Crazy.
It is, right? Now, I know the internet goes down. I know.
Right, yeah. Because you grid down.
Just because an EMP could take out your car doesn't mean we don't drive cars to work every day, right?
Right. Yeah,
so
fair.
during good times, use what you can use and have backups.
And have backups for when you don't. Right.
They all talk pace.
That's why, you're not going to.
Contingency, emergency.
Right,
well,
yeah.
Maybe your primary is your cell phone and your digital internet connection. So you and I could talk to each other, primary comms, through our digital. Maybe our alternate or contingency, for you and I, our contingency might be a ham.
Right.
Which doesn't need the internet. But just for ease of use, day to day, key up the mic, put it on the Changing Earth talk group, key it up, and anybody on the Changing Earth talk group can talk to each other, just like they were talking into a regular walkie-talkie.
And how, what can other people just listen in on that group?
It's just like a walkie-talkie. It's just any walkie-talkie. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they dialed into that, yeah.
If they dialed into the right thing.
What a talk group is, I'm lucky enough here in this area to have multiple repeaters that actually, for free, I can get into the repeater, and then they have talk groups you can do. So there's like a Western North Carolina talk group. I can get in. I could talk to people across the state. There's a PRN talk group, which I don't know what that stands for, but that's the one that I was in. It's for a North Carolina, South Carolina talk group. So I was in Charleston talking to people. I think he was in Raleigh or Charlotte. I forget.
Huh.
So talking to people all over the place. So it's like, if you know the talk group passcode, is basically what it's It's like 5 or 6 digit number. If you know that number, you could program your radio. You put the name of it in, you say what frequency you have to call in on and what the passcode is and a couple other programming things. And then it's in your radio, blink, and then you just tune your radio to that channel, blink, and key it up and talk.
Oh, there you go.
It just
Crazy.
it just like your GMRS radio with your family, right?
Yeah.
You guys keyed up and talk. Well, anybody could hear it, right?
Right.
Well, same thing here, but it's a little more through obscurity. It's not really secure, but just because not everybody has DMR.
All right. Yeah,
radios,
not everyone knows how to use it.
and not everybody listens to the same frequency. Like on an analog radio, if you would hear something when I broadcast, but you remember the old fax machines?
Uh-huh.
The squeaking and squawking, that's what it sounds like.
Got you.
So they wouldn't hear audio. They would only hear squeaking and squawking.
Huh.
And if you had a DMR radio, you could hear it because they encode and decode the message. Now, here's another campfire discussion, Sarah. Now, if you and I were just sitting at the campfire, just you and I, right? Nobody else is listening.
Yeah, nobody's listening to us.
They have encryption, 256 encryption.
Okay.
Which is just like Meshtastic, which is just like a lot of like police radios and stuff having this 256 encryption. So if you and I feared for our lives because there was a mean biker gang in town,
right,
we might flip on the encryption. And if you had the key and the encryption key and I had the encryption key, nobody, even if they could hear the squeaking and squawking on a digital radio, they wouldn't be able to understand what was being said.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of good things about digital. I know. And I'm not saying money doesn't have value, but for $150 on sale right now.
Right? Go get it.
To have all that.
And then use the code.
To have a radio that you could open up and do GMRS, MERS, which MERS you don't need a license for at all. Those frequencies, you don't need a license. You could just use it right out of the box.
Gotcha.
So GMRS, MERS, ham 2 meter, ham 70 centimeter analog on both those, and then 2 meter and 70 centimeter digital. One little walkie-talkie does all of that. And then, God forbid, the mean biker gang comes into town.
Then you can encrypt. Yeah. Yep. That's cool. All right, guys. So, Romeo 10 off. Romeo R10 OFF. There we go. I say too many numbers. You put it in
the show notes and
yeah. We'll put it up in the show notes and that's cool. Because you've been experimenting with a lot of things, so it's cool to have
and I play with this stuff and I kind of figure out what I mean. I've got a whole table full of radios, and this one, the analog version of this, if you don't care about the digital and price is really an issue, I'd say get that one.
Right. That's at least get that one.
But if you have $150 while it's still on sale, because I think it's on sale for almost half price right now.
Oh, gotcha.
And the tariffs didn't hit it yet, so
go get it.
This has so much capability. Yeah,
love it. Well, good job. Good communications information, because that's an area where we're lacking. So I'm like, Christian, you gotta be the man,
and I put in the PBN elements page. I think I dropped this in the deals over there too, so you could see, anybody in the PBN family can see that over there as well.
Got you over on Element.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about we do some Change in Earth news?
You gonna stop me? You gonna cut me off?
I am. I'm gonna stop you. We're gonna have like an hour and a half show. We're gonna already have an hour and a half show for them, but that's okay. We don't get as many shows out these days, so
I get so excited about radio.
I know. I'm cutting you off. You are shut up. All righty. Let me whip through the Change in Earth news here.
Dream, survive, thrive. This is Changing Earth News.
We have some interesting things on the board, that's for sure. All right, so Changing Earth News. This is going to be March 1st to today. We're recording on April 6th, so it's going to cover that period. And the world of extremes. That's why you need radios and you need communications because we have no idea what is coming. And it seems like they're always talking about, oh, these generational, once in a lifetime, once in a generation event, like every storm. I don't know if it's like news media hype or what, but we had some serious stuff going on. So believe it or not, the southern plains like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, coming into March 1st was all still very much drought, a multi-year drought. So, for example, Lake Travis is at like 35% full. Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, they're only at 32% of normal snowpack for those states. So still dealing with a lot of drought. So we've got extremes, right? One area right next to each other can be just extremely drought ridden and the other area is just getting slammed with flooding. It just seems to be more and more extreme. Southern Europe, like Spain, Italy, Greece, they were still dealing with some droughts, but especially Northern Africa, countries like Morocco, Algeria, Tanzania, exceptional dryness up there and having crop failures due to that dryness. So just something to keep our eyes on because we want to make sure. I'm always on the lookout for weather patterns and how it's going to affect our agricultural yields. So that's really where my eyes go. March 4th to the 6th, North American storm happened with wildfires. This storm hit 20 plus states with blizzard conditions, 22 inches of snow in Iowa, 68 mile an hour winds. And then wildfires burned up 284 acres in San Antonio, Texas. So again, we're dealing with these extremes. There was an EF1 tornado in that storm by Ada, Oklahoma. One person was injured, and they got 2 inches of rain in the northeast, causing flooding in the subways. Also, they received pea-size hail in Pennsylvania, but we've seen much bigger hail around the country this month. 6 people did lose their lives, 3 in Nebraska from the blizzard conditions, 3 in Mississippi from the storm chaos, and over 400,000 lost power in the Dallas-Fort Worth area alone. March 13th, there was actually an EF0 tornado. Why is it important? It was just south of Los Angeles. And they also had another EF0 up in Northern California as well. So we're talking some mountainous areas that don't usually see tornado activity.
Sure they weren't filming a movie or something?
What's that? Oh, filming the movie? Yeah.
There wasn't special effects?
It was Sharknado.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just odd, gosh, was it last year we seen the tornado that started up on top of a mountain, which is just crazy. Doesn't usually happen like at all. March 13th to 15th, there was floods in the Democratic Republic of Congo. That was due to river overflowing. There was 30 deaths reported with that, and those are just like the preliminary reports that came in. They had homes, roads destroyed, lots of infrastructure damage along with those 30 lives that were lost. March 14th to the 15th, we had another tornado outbreak here in the United States, in the Midwest and the South. 56 plus tornadoes across 10 states. There was 42 people that lost their lives. 12 people in Missouri, 8 in Kansas, 6 in Mississippi, 4 in Texas, 4 in Oklahoma, 3 in Alabama, 3 in AR. I know it's not Arizona. So Arkansas. There we go. Yeah, just north of me. We got so lucky in that storm in particular because all of the activity went north. EF4 is reported with this outbreak, 190 mile an hour winds in Diaz. Larkin had 170 mile an hour winds. So we're talking just a big storm. There was actually a supermarket that collapsed in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, that killed one person there. Total of 170 people injured, 340,000 at least without power. So it was a big storm that probably did some damage to some agriculture in areas like Missouri and Kansas where they were losing barns and things like that to tornadoes. March 13th to the 16th, winter storm and wildfires. Again, we're in the Midwest in the United States. There was blizzards that came in, 12 inches of snow in Minnesota, South Dakota, 60-mile-an-hour winds. 3 people, unfortunately, lost their lives in car wrecks there. 100-plus wildfires in Oklahoma. It was a big wildfire day because of the winds. And then in Missouri, they had 1.75 inch, so it's about the size of a golf ball, hail damage that came down in Missouri. March, I told you this month was ripping. The 19th to the 20th, we had more blizzards come in and storms. Well, they always say March, right, is in like a lion, out like a lamb, right? But it didn't go out like a lamb. It went out like a kabang. It did. March 19th to the 20th. 10 inches of snow in Nebraska and Minnesota, Iowa, again with road closures. Big old hail came down in Illinois, and actually one of the show hosts lost his pool in that storm. So, yeah, it was on the move. We had the same thing happen to us last winter with the pool, actually. So it'll be interesting to see if it still holds water this year.
And that host had just spent time like building up.
I know, beautifying the area and building the pool in. Yeah. Again, agricultural, probably minimum. We're not into full on plant season yet. Especially not up there. Texas for sure. We're there, but not up north. March 19th to the 20th. Storm Martin Ho came in. It's literally Martin Ho. It's hilarious. It's probably like Martinho, Portugal, Spain. Martinho.
It's like something from the Princess Bride movie or something.
Yeah. Hit Portugal and Spain. 75-mile-an-hour winds. 3 inches of rain flooded Lisbon and Porto. Hail 2 centimeters in diameter in Galicia, dented vehicles, and 50,000 homes were without power. Big old storm came in. No lives lost, but lots of downed trees, lots of wind damage. On March 23rd to 25th, storm and hail damage in Saudi Arabia. So this area has just become like insane with the amount of hail that's picking up and flooding and everything like that. So they got 3.5 inches of rain in Mecca and Jeddah, 3-centimeter hail in Jeddah, which was smashing windows, vehicles. No confirmed deaths at this point, but they did have flash flooding, disrupted power, and this is all happening in the desert. So very interesting activity. I'm telling you, the change in Earth. We did have a big coronal hole on the sun at the beginning of March. It was gigantic. I've just never seen anything like that. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. And so it had earthquake activity upticking, and then it really hit at the end of the month. So let's get into some more solar stuff. 23rd to the 27th, there was 3 M-class flares. 28 CMEs that came off of that. It actually put us in a level 2 G1 geomatic storm. No outages or power outages or anything like that. And not even really a good show from it as far as like the Northern Lights go. Mm-hmm. March 26th to the 31st, Kilauea was doing some really interesting eruptive activity. And it kept going for quite a while. Some of the lava fountains were up to 1,000 feet in the air. And it put off a lot of lava in those activities. Again, there's nobody really around Kilauea. It's one of the most active volcanoes. They're around it, but people understand like it's erupting. So they're not building houses right next to it. It would have to be a big, bad eruption for that. This was just typical activity. Also, the Eula 1 eruption happened in Papua New Guinea. So they had ash plumes there up to 10,000 feet in the air. That's just the ash going up that high. It coated the homes and fields. So it's just hitting local subsistence crops. But still, you don't want to have volcanic ash on everything. And then on the 28th, there was an X1 solar flare that came off the sun. It was not aimed at Earth. It is a big, bad eruption. Would not be good if it was aimed at the Earth, but it did not. And we didn't have any of the radio blackouts. There was a potential that some of it was going to hit us, and we did not see the radio blackouts or anything like that.
Thank goodness for that.
I know. It's my son against your radios.
I think you win.
Yeah. You got to have them in a Faraday cage.
Mm-hmm.
March 28th was the 7.7 earthquake that hit Myanmar. It was a huge, huge earthquake that did a lot of damage over there. They felt it really, really far away. 36 people even died in Thailand and one in Vietnam, even though it was centered in Myanmar. Over just about it's going to be over 5,000 people. They're still digging people out of rubble. And some of the entire villages were just flattened and destroyed. It was really bad earthquake. If you haven't watched any of the footage of it yet, you really should. They had all these those big high-rise buildings that have the pools up top. And water storage up top.
There was a couple in the pool?
Yeah. There was a guy in the pool as it's going, and then people standing down below as the water's just rushing over the edge of these buildings because they were shaking so much.
I saw one with a guy. It was a guy and a girl in the pool.
Yeah.
And it had the infinity edge.
Yep.
And the water kept sloshing back and forth. I was worried for them.
Right? You're going to go over the edge of the pool. Yeah. So that was a huge earthquake that hit, and they've seen a lot of activity since then. There on the March 30th, there was a tornado cluster in Arizona, Mississippi, Tennessee, Missouri. 3 tornadoes touched down in 24 hours. There was a supercell tornado in Noble. Giant hail reported. No damage to homes, but no lives lost, thank God. Mm-hmm. March 30th, there was massive flooding in Peru and Trujillo. 600 plus homes were flooded, cars swept away. They don't have a death toll as of yet, so they're hoping that no lives were lost in that event. But it did do a lot of damage to their power lines, to the whole town, basically. On March 30th to 31st, they had flooding in Paraguay. Near Asuncion, there was 300 homes inundated. No casualties reported from that, but they did have a lot of people displaced from that activity. Potential loss of soybean and maize crops down there in the lowlands. In Greece, they had flooding massively, especially in it was the island of Paros, and 100 plus homes and vehicles flooded, no deaths reported. I'm telling you that Ellen's trying to get me to visit all the time, and she's potentially going to be in Tasmania. And I'm like, there is no way you would find me on a little island right now. No way. That's just my personal opinion. Everybody's got their own path to make, but those islands have been getting slammed. March 30th to 31st, there was another winter storm in the Midwest in the United States. 12 inches of snow in the Dakotas, 40-mile-an-hour gusts, 4-inch softball-sized hail in Viola, Arkansas, with damage to the roofs. No deaths from that storm, but they definitely had power outages, and hail was literally smashing the homes in Arkansas. March 31st, there was a 6.1 earthquake in Indonesia, 72 kilometers southwest of Tambolaka, at a depth of 10 meters. They're really well set up for earthquakes. They experience a lot of them in Indonesia. It was just a very big quake. So luckily, no lives lost in that event. They don't have the big skyscrapers swinging around and things like that. March 31st to April 1st, the volcano in the Philippines, Canlaon, was erupting. Ash plume up to 4,900 feet in the air. No deaths, but they did have that ash affecting crops like rice and sugarcane. So that's where they grow a lot of sugarcane over there. March 31st, flash drought risk, central Texas. So it's just been dry in central part of Texas. Obviously not the north. There was a 6.3 earthquake in the Pacific Antarctic Ridge. So nobody's going to be alive to see out in the middle of the ocean unless you're on a boat. But still a very significant earthquake event. We've been seeing a lot of uptick. And just keep in mind that May is actually like, when you look back at a lot of prophets and whatnot, May is a time they ding for like the Great Quake in my book to happen. And so every May I'm a little bit more tense. I actually finally wrote a prequel story. I was thinking of you, Chin, when I wrote that story, and you still haven't read it. But that's just a side note. But if you sign up to my...
my name is Chin, and I have a problem. It's called radio.
Yeah. If you I'll have to cast it over the radio for you. If you sign up to my mailing list, or if you're already a member, it's free in the members area, and you get it as a free download when you sign up to the newsletter. It's called Before the Earth Broke, and Doug made me a really cool cover for it. So it's like colorful and happy, instead of like kind of doomy and gloomy like my covers are. So I was like, oh, it's Before the Earth Broke. It's really cool. So check that out. Okay, April 1st to 2nd, we're coming into the month of April. We had floods, Baldwin County, Alabama, 300 plus homes flooded, power outages. We had an M5.6 solar flare on the 1st. It should not cause a lot of activity. It caused some auroral displays that were seen from Scotland to Canada. So we're talking up north, nothing big. On April 2nd to the 5th is when we had big storms in Southwest and Midwestern United States. 53 plus tornadoes touching down, 8 deaths, 1 in Arkansas, 1 in Missouri. That was an EF3 in Arkansas, EF2 in Nevada, Missouri. 6 in Tennessee near LaGrange. Hail, 167 reports of 2.5 inch hail in Tennessee. So that's tennis ball size there coming in. Windows shattering from the hail. Kentucky got flooded. Dawson Springs got completely flooded out, annihilated from this last storm. Little Rock in Arkansas had some big problems with flooding going on. They got 4 inches of snow in Michigan. So up north, it was still cold enough to snow. And I tell you what, that storm brought in some cold to Texas. It's like, I think we're hobbits. We want second winter is this year because it got cold again. Semeru in Indonesia, the volcano erupted, ash plume about 15,000 feet in the air. And then we have that G1 magnetic storm come in from the M-class solar flares. The 4th to the 5th, Great Sitkin erupted up in Alaska. So a lot of times those volcanoes are just on showing unrest alerts on the volcano where I go to watch what volcanoes are erupting. And this one finally did let loose. It was really slow lava, but it was a confirmed eruption up there. There was a 6.9 earthquake that just happened on the 4th in Papua New Guinea. There was a tsunami warning issued with that earthquake, but it was canceled. And then Storm Kathleen hit the UK and Ireland. 80-mile-an-hour winds, 3.5 inches of rain recorded at Cork, 2-centimeter hail in England, denting vehicles, and 1 death in Ireland due to that storm. About 100,000 without power. April 6th, which is today, There was a 4.6 earthquake in Iran this morning. Iran, where they could potentially be testing things. But no damage was reported from that. No power outages. No agricultural losses reported. Updates are still pending on that earthquake. And that's it. Still reporting, these just droughts next to massive flooding activity, which is just really interesting. As far as earthquakes go, January, we had about 17,500 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger. February, it went up to 24,500. So the earthquakes had a big uptake in February. March kind of calmed down and went back down to 20,000. It's still a higher number, but not as bad as February was. I do expect April to be higher than March just because we've seen some really big earthquakes just recently. And normally it takes time for the earth to kind of chill out after that. I looked at the volcanic numbers today. There's 37 erupting. So that's down a couple from last month, which is good. 38 showing minor activity and 24 showing unrest. That takes us to 16. I suck with math in my head. 19, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. 99 still on the list. So we're down one volcano from last month. We were at 100 last month. Which
99 volcanoes on the wall.
Yeah,
Take one down.
99 would take one down, passed around. No, we were up to 104 last month, but we had all of those earthquakes in February, so I'm not really surprised that we saw the amount of volcanic activity we did. It's still a big. The numbers are still really, really high comparatively to what we were looking at just 2 years ago. As far as wildfires in the United States, we have 11 large wildfires going right now. There's 128,066 acres on fire. None of those fires are contained. South Carolina is number one on the list. We kind of knew that was coming. They still have one fire burning, 15,973 acres. North Carolina is number two on the list.
Last month?
No, for today, actually, when I looked at the list.
Today. Last month we were we had to be number one.
Yeah. It's come down because you guys just got the rain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is current numbers as of today, so this would be the beginning of April. 9,314 acres still on fire in North Carolina. Florida is number 3 on the list with 3 fires. 4,332 acres. One new fire is actively burning. And then Georgia is number 4. It's kind of an honorable mention because they have one fire that's burning 3,434 acres. So it's a pretty good fire. So I thought, well, they don't usually make the list. Let's get them on the list this week. This month. Alrighty, guys. So a lot going on with the Changing Earth. If you want to reach me or Chin, go on over to changingearthseries.com. There's a button right on the home drop-down menu that says contact us. You can reach either of us there. Yeah, smash that button. Really appreciate all the support that you guys give me. If you haven't left a review yet, please go over and do that. Things are looking up as far as getting the project pushed forward. So before too long, we'll be looking at a TV series of the Changing Earth series, and I'll be like, thank you guys for all the support you gave me. And I'm just so blessed to have such wonderful people in my life that give me the support they do, and just honored. So thank you again. Please leave a review. Go on over changingearthseries.com. Stay up to date on all of the new books coming out, the audio drama episodes. Season 5's coming soon. So everybody over at PBN that's been waiting for season 5, do not worry. It's coming. And PBN's probably going to get a little sneak preview of that before anybody else does. So good stuff coming. Lots of fun. And here we go, April. hang on tight, guys. I've heard, that the planetary timeline's kind of speeding up. So have faith. Take a breath. So much chatter in the world, but just no, it's going to be okay. We're going to be all right, I think. Alrighty. Until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sara and Chin for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSaraFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.